Hey, this is Jackie Joyner-Kersee, and you're listening to the 25th Hour Radio Show.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.
I know for a fact that there's a lot of potential gold medalists, potential world record breakers, and for that matter, doctors, lawyers, etc., that fall victim to the distractions that I'm talking about, growing up in such a tough neighborhood. So I guess let's just start off, this way at first. When did you first realize that you had the gift like you had? And I imagine it was your speed that was noticed first, right?
Well, not really.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to come to a community center in East St. Louis, and I started off as a cheerleader, and then did modern dance, and then they had signed up for track. And I tried to get my sisters and my next-door neighbor to be a part of my team, but they just felt it was too much running. So
a lot of people, I'm sure, felt the same way.
Right. I really wanted to run with my friends who lived across town, but my mom was really afraid of really letting me go with the coaches at that time, but to her they were strangers until she got to know who they were. And I remember in my first track meet, I finished last in the 400 meters. And I just said to myself that if I can improve a half of an inch if I was jumping, or a tenth of a second if I was running, then maybe I would get better. And then eventually I would go to competitions and saw where my times were getting better, but my place in the event might have been, wasn't last place, maybe 8th or 6th or 7th, somewhere in there. And then it dawned on me that only the top 3 stand on the podium. So I said I wanted to get from the grass to the podium because those of us that were standing on the grass received ribbons.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the one, 2, 3 received medals. So that was my focus, and from there, I saw myself getting better and better and better. But I always had appreciation for working hard and not taking anything for granted.
Absolutely. Were you a good student in high school? Did you find it difficult to study and train at the same time?
I was a real good student, and it wasn't difficult because at that time, if you can't remember, girls doing sports really weren't something that people had an appreciation for. So a lot of the times, the sporting activities I would do once I left elementary school and then went to junior high school, that you only had a window of maybe an hour after school to participate. So, but for my mom, the most important thing was me getting an education.
Absolutely.
She didn't care about me doing sports. She wanted me to come home and clean up. And if the street lights weren't on, then I could go back out.
That sounds a lot like my childhood growing up. Did you witness a lot of kids falling prey to the drugs and alcohol and bullying? And how did you steer away from that kind of thing?
You really, it's not that I didn't witness any of that. I lived in a community where, yes, you did know that drugs and violence and not only physical violence, but violence of people getting killed. And, you saw that, but I always got encouragement from the men who used to sit on the corner across from my home or our house, and they were always encouraging us. Not only me, but all the kids in the community. And so, but when you growing up, a lot of times, those are not things that you're looking for because it's really, it's like it's not your environment, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, the most important thing for me was to set goals because I saw how difficult it was for my mom to make ends meet. And even though my father would travel back and forth from Springfield, Illinois, but a lot of times, mainly it was about getting an education and, going to school and really trying to find a job.
Did you have a special teacher that you related to more than others? Someone you could turn to and talk about problems that maybe you couldn't talk about with anyone else?
I would say that it wasn't that. Well, you always have your teachers and your coaches, and I had people at the Mayor Brown Center that I would talk to, but it wasn't like my childhood was full of negativity, even though negativity was around me. So for me, I always felt that I was always trying to focus on something bigger and better.
Mm-hmm.
So even when my friends or some of the people would say, "Oh, well, I don't know why you're doing this," or what we call bullying now, I didn't really let that affect me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't afraid to stand up for myself. Mm-hmm. And if it's something I didn't believe in, I didn't mind speaking to my coach, who was Coach Fennoy from the time I was 9 years of age and who continued to be in my life today. That I was always very outspoken to the point where the girls were like, "Well, if you don't do something, don't do it around Jen because she's going to tell." And it wasn't about telling. It was about, to me, if we're a part of a team and we're trying to win, and if someone is not doing what they're supposed to do, I'm not going to sit over here in this huddle and we discuss it amongst ourselves, and then we're in front of the coach, or we act like everything is peaches and cream. No. So I would speak up, and I would speak up while they were there. So.
Did you ever lose in high school? As far as races or stuff like that?
Yes.
I had to ask that.
I think losing is sometimes, for me, if I lost the race, I never looked at it as, "Oh, I lost the race." I looked at it as me learning from why did I fall short. And a lot of times, if I fell short, it was because I didn't execute what the coaches was asking me to do. Maybe my mind was somewhere else, or I thought maybe I had a better strategy in running the 400 meters, or But I think for me, having that type of attitude allowed me to continue to grow.
When did you first start getting contact from colleges? How old were you?
When I was a junior. Now, we might have had information sent to us when we were a sophomore, because my high school started at 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
But our coaches, they really informed us that, coaches are not allowed to contact you, and if someone contacts you, let us know right away, and that all materials should go through the school.
Yes.
But some coaches, for whatever reason, they could find your phone number, because at that time you didn't have all this unlisted and private.
Oh yeah, times have changed for sure.
So they knew your parents' name, they could just call information.
Oh yeah, all they got to do is look in the phone book.
Right, and some coaches got through, and even as a junior, coaches were calling and.
Now, did that upset you? Did you love that, or what? I mean, did you think your parents think, "Hey, that's too young for them to be, contacting my daughter"?
No, you know what? It's not that it upset me. It was frightening, because it was like, wow. It was, you were starting to see the transition that your life was taking,
mm-hmm.
because all of a sudden now, okay,
the rewards. You're seeing the rewards, yeah.
Or this male coach or this female coach is calling your house and someone wants to speak to you, and it's like, oh, well, the person on the other end is very professional, and you're like a young kid, like, oh, hi.
That's how I feel talking to you right now.
Oh, please don't. Please don't. You're very professional. You know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did being such a star athlete in high school, did that ever go to your head? You know, I only ask you that because I personally witnessed, you know, all-star, all-state athletes who did, and that eventually is what became their, you know, their downfall. They were, you know, they were the life of the party. They end up getting pregnant or becoming, you know, getting someone pregnant.
Right.
Did it go to your head at all, or was you firm and, you know, all the way through school?
Yeah, I always thought of myself as one of many All-Americans and All-Staters. And that's the same attitude I took when I decided to go to UCLA. And that kept me grounded from the standpoint of knowing that, you know, there's someone else that's better than you, or there's someone else got the same title, you know, but you still got to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
And these were just little notes that I would, you know, write to myself, and that I would remind myself. And I would always remind myself to never forget where I came from, and to know how hard it was working, you know, day in and day out, and having an opportunity to see my dreams become a reality.
Why did you choose UCLA?
You know, I chose UCLA because when I was 14, I saw the 76 Olympic Games on television. And our coaches told us to watch the Olympics. So we're like, okay, because, you know, we all think we're going to go to the Olympics. And I remember seeing Evelyn Ashford. And at that time, they would put the university that you went to. And Evelyn had her hair braided just like I would wear my braids. You know, so she was someone that I could identify with, like, wow. In my mind, I started saying, oh, I want to go to the Olympics. I can be on TV. And then 2 years later, 1978, I remember seeing Ann Myers and Anita Ortega. They played for UCLA. They went against Maryland in the AIAW championship in basketball, because I played basketball.
Oh, yeah, I was going to bring that up next.
So I just figured, like, oh, UCLA, a great school, great place. And then I was so tired of competing in the Midwest in the cold weather.
I understand that.
So you know,
I'm from the same area, so yeah, I understand that completely.
But I wasn't for sure if UCLA was going to recruit me or not, because I came from a team of girls that was really, all of us went to Division I schools, and we were, you know, pretty successful. You know, we all had grown up together, but, you know, we lived in a community in East St. Louis, you know, predominantly black and all that. We just thought that maybe schools would be afraid to come into our neighborhood, because a lot of times before we used to play against some of the different schools that wasn't from around the area, that we always have to go to their schools because they were afraid their bus was going to be robbed, or a lot of little things that as young people you thought was a given, but then as you grew and developed, you realized one thing about college coaches: if you got the talent, they gonna come from all over.
They're gonna come out of the woodwork, aren't they?
Exactly.
You know, a lot like
that was just us being very naive and, you know, narrow mind thinking in our point of view as young people.
They got the eye on the sky now, I bet. They got the satellites up there spying their next recruit.
Exactly.
Hey, a lot of people don't bring this up, and you mentioned that you were also one of the greatest basketball players in Bruins history. I mean, how did you find time for your academics, you know, playing basketball? And at that time, wasn't you competing or had competed already in one Olympic Games?
No, I went to the Olympic trials as a high schooler, and one of my concerns was when UCLA was recruiting me. When Billy Moore, who was the basketball coach at the time, the conversation I had with her said, "Okay, I don't know, so I got to make sure I'm able to balance both, because because I had never really competed indoors in track. And I know on the college level, a lot of times the indoor track season is the same time as the basketball season.
Mm-hmm.
But what we worked out with that, when it's basketball, I'm just going to totally focus on basketball. And then I wouldn't go get to track until the beginning of April. So it worked out because it was really taking advantage of all the tutorial help you have on campus and really time management, prioritizing, and really not losing focus and getting caught up into things that are a distraction that would take me away from, we practice from 4 to 6:30. And then we would have study hall from 7 to 9. It was mandatory as freshmen. Mm-hmm. And what I would do is fully take advantage of all the things that was available to me, because I knew come the spring I would want to run track. Because at first I was just afraid that maybe, I was too short, to play basketball, but that wasn't the case.
I always wondered this, because you played basketball and you were such a good high jumper. How close could you dunk a basketball?
You know what? I never tried to dunk a basketball, but I could take my hand way past the rim.
Yeah.
And back then you just never really, because I couldn't really, I think my hands were too small. I could never really palm the ball, so I know I couldn't do it two-handed. So.
What was your vertical? Do you know what your vertical was?
No.
Oh, come on. They never measured me vertical. You could jump high. Let's put it that way, right?
I know, because I can high jump 6'4",
yeah.
So that was my best high jump. But, we never, because, in basketball, we never really did that, and then when they would do it in track, I was never there for it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, can you let some people know about some of the organizations that you're involved in and maybe some websites that they can turn to get more info on you and your organizations?
Yes, they can go to JJK Foundation, which is the Joyner-Kersee Foundation. It's work that I, do in my community with my community center. And basically, that's the only one. And outside of Athletes for Hope, a group of us as founders, tries to introduce philanthropy to, I won't say athletes that have a passion, and where they can come and learn more about developing that passion into community outreach or community giving. Also, I'm on the board of USTF, which is USA Track and Field, and I do a lot with developmental programs and working with the sport of track and field. I also continue doing my work with call it my high school, but this outreach program. So, and being a mentor to a lot of some of the student athletes and then some of the world class athletes.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was trying to get with this interview. I was kind of want to give people, maybe students or people, young kids, an idea, of a little bit about your youth and how, you overcame some of the things that you did. And I was hopefully, that we maybe can touch somebody today.
Yeah, and I hope so too, because I look at the times when I was growing up versus the times of today, whereas we didn't have a lot of the media outlets that's available to student athletes today, whereas bullying was going on when I was growing up, but it's more prevalent now because instead of you being able to resolve whatever that issue is amongst yourself, now young people would take it and they'll go to their internet, and then it just becomes really
cyberbullying.
Right. So, my concern has always been for young people is to be the best that you could be. Not all of us are different in our ways, but we all can work on.
Yeah, like you said in bullying. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, Jackie. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
As far as what you're talking about, bullying's taking it. There's a whole new level to it right now because the main thing about bullying is the embarrassment that follows it. to the person that's being
Right.
bullied. Now you got people that's posting it on the internet, and that just gets
Yeah.
a more of an audience to the person being bullied. So it's such a it's grown to be such a bigger thing than what it used to be.
Right. And it's very it's vicious, and
Mhm.
it has become so dangerous. And the person that's being bullied, sometimes feel that they're already alone, and it's just unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, kids that don't even really want to become a part of that situation just get caught up in
Right.
it. You know what I mean? They just join in because it's there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a
You
lot
don't
of
have to.
yeah, that's exactly right. You have a choice.
That's where the leadership comes in. Being a leader, being different, because a lot of us that are different, a lot of times you're not going to be liked,
Mm-hmm.
but then you don't change your values or compromise your morals just to belong to something or some group to just fit in.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like you just touched on right there, being different, being successful, that being bullied is a sign that you are doing the right thing. Sometimes you are on the right track.
Right.
So,
Because, go ahead.
well, we both were talking at the same time again. We're having that problem today, aren't we? Go ahead, Jackie.
Well, this is great. No, this is great. I just like I just think that it's, you're right on, when if you're going to be different, don't all of a sudden, I had to talk to one young person that was very good in school, but then because they were very successful in what they were doing in school, they wanted to hold themselves back because they were so superior than some of their classmates. I was like, no, you don't. Don't try to act dumb. You're not dumb.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I say, just imagine 5-10 years down the road, you will be the lead surgeon. So now all of a sudden, you got to make a decision. But just because the people around you have an issue with that now someone that's on the table, life depends on you making the right decision. I say, no, don't do that.
And whoever that is might inspire someone to do better. If they do better, instead of holding yourself back, someone's always looking to somebody else, always for motivation.
Right, and we all are different. We all, when I was coming up, I was teased a lot because I used to have to wear. My mom used to make me wear the same outfit back to back. That's one great thing about that's. Tell kids, they be like, well, I don't like uniforms. I say, you know what, I wish I would have had uniforms because then if I had a uniform, then I wouldn't have to worry about people teasing me.
I remember having something like that happen to me. You never wanted to wear the same outfit to school 2 days in a row. You'd wear an outfit and you'd come home, your mom would do laundry or you'd do the laundry. Exactly. And then it's like, here you go, you can wear this today. It's like, oh, no, I can't do that.
Right. But, your parents didn't care. Like, no, you're going to wear this. And I'm like, well, okay, can I wear it Monday, then I can wear it again on Friday. No, you're going to come home, take it off, you're going to wear it again tomorrow.
They just didn't understand, did they?
No. And didn't care to understand. Yeah.
Well, Jackie, I had a wonderful time talking to you today, and everyone knows the rest of your story. You're a legend in track and field, the greatest female athlete, arguably the greatest athlete, male or female of all time. It's been my honor to speak with you today, and I had a wonderful time, and I hope you enjoyed your time here with us today.
Yes, I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
The 25th Hour Radio Show.